Hello, everyone. SCG Baltimore was this last weekend, so there were two 1Ks and a 2K at that event. So this list, this Han Yellow list, won a 2K and won one of the 1Ks, is by Ian Klein, who did an interview with Rebel Resource. You can see I'll link this list in the description. This is his winning list that he won both events with. The other event was won by another Han deck, Han Green, also from the set number 1. Ian won a PPG 1K, I think it was around last month, with a similar build. So it's kind of based on his set 1 deck, which you can see. He also did an interview online, which I'll also link in the video description about that, so you can see that video too. But at the time, he said it was missing another 7-drop. So with the reveal of DJ here, who has a smuggle cost of 7, double yellow, that gives you another hit beyond the single kind of Han Solo unit, which had been being used traditionally. And you also have on 7, you've got Cunning and Millennium Falcon, which is another kind of a game-winning combo there. He believes, and talked about this kind of in the interview, I'll go over it just like with a quick kind of overview so we can get into the gameplay with this, but he talked about how he thought this was the best deck for a Tech and DJ combo, which you can kind of see right there, because you have 11 main deck hand hate cards to be able to preserve your combo. So if you know that someone's going to use takedown on your tech, you can pull it with some of the hand hate cards, hand reveal cards. You can pull it with Bodhi, you can pull it with Spark, or you can kind of delay it till it doesn't really matter anymore with cards like Kira. So if you're unaware, I think it's Tower number 9 actually, too many content creators for me to keep track of, has done a pretty good overview of the Tech DJ combo. Again, I'll probably link that in the video description, but long story short is Tech allows you to smuggle out cards from your resource row. I think he's really a kind of a fantastic card. He kind of breaks a certain part of the game, which is that resources are traditionally kind of unavailable to you beyond smuggle cards specifically, which you can bring back, except he just gives everything smuggle. So it basically turns your resource row into your hand by having you just pay a few extra resources to be able to utilize that. So instead of having DJ come out on 7, DJ now comes out on 5 with Tech. So that can cause a little bit earlier of a blowout, kind of even like with Han's ability, because he will up you on resources, you can get DJ out on 4 when you're on like 4 resources. So I think Ian talked about a play in the top 8 where he was playing against a Sabine Green build, and he smuggled out a DJ on 4, which put them back down to 3 resources, so they could no longer deploy Sabine on the 4 resource turn. So especially if people are not ready for this combo, it can be pretty powerful. If people get a little bit more used to it, maybe it might be like a little less so, right? I wouldn't think that Sabine player, they attacked with an A-Wing first instead of deploying Sabine. I think if they had like a little more experience against this deck, they would have just deployed Sabine first. But that type of really kind of powerful play with people who are unfamiliar with this type of deck can really kind of swing the game against them. He mentioned that it was like a road deck that no one kind of understood that DJ would come out on round 6 because of Han. So with Han, you're usually trying, in Han Green, you get up to 7 resources. You use Han's ability to pitch one of your cards back into your resource row to get up to 7 to be able to U-Wing. In this deck, you're using that for DJ to get one of their resources. And then with Han's ability, also worth noting, there's a lot of moving pieces to this deck, but you can defeat the resource that you stole with DJ for Han's ability. So even if they get rid of DJ, that you kind of permanently have discarded their resource with Han. So you can kind of permanently get rid of some of their resources. In that interview, he also mentioned that mono green Palpatine, or just double green Palpatine, was the worst matchup. I think he had around a 40-45% win rate against that one. So again, you're really trying to delay their ramp in that situation. He said that the main deck, New Adventure, that's kind of a flex spot, but he kept it in specifically for Palpatine because you can push some more damage with cards like Falcon, because when a New Adventure triggers on Falcon, Falcon will come back readied, so you can do like another 3 with the Falcon. You can also use a New Adventure because it allows you, it says like you can play that card for free. So the when played ability of cards like Bodhi do trigger, so you can use Bodhi to pull some ramp out of their hand and do things like that, or even like Kira if you need to reset. A New Adventure is also good with Tech because Tech can play a New Adventure from your resource row. If someone is going to attack into Tech, do 2 or 3 damage to him, and then they think they're going to kill him with units, which is usually kind of how he dies, you can use a New Adventure to basically kind of functionally heal Tech, because if you use a New Adventure on him, it's kind of like a blink effect in Magic, so he'll come back but with no damage on him. So you can use a New Adventure to make sure that Tech comes out again. One of the reasons why Ian was saying that this is the best deck to hold the Tech DJ combo. Other than that, you have 11 main deck hand disruption cards. He said that his favorite play is in Magic the Gathering, because he's a Magic the Gathering player, is a turn 1 Thoughtseize. So if you're coming from Magic, you kind of know what that means. That's why he's got 11 main deck hand disruption cards. So this might not seem like a kind of control build, but it really is. It's kind of based on defeating and claiming and then destroying your opponent's resources with DJ. It's based on discarding cards straight from their hand with Spark of Rebellion or Bodhi Rook. And Spark of Rebellion is the card that he was comparing to a turn 1 Thoughtseize, and really is pretty similar, because you can turn 1 Spark of Rebellion and you can either pull what they would be playing turn 1, so a 1 or 2 resource card, because a lot of times people will keep one of those in their hand to play, so you can really put them off tempo by discarding whatever they were going to play the first turn. Or if you're playing against a ramp deck and they've kept like 1 resupply in their hand or something like that, you can just immediately grab that with the Spark to make it so that they can't start to kind of outrace you. There are 18 3-drops for C3PO, so if you don't know what you're claiming or like when his like on attack ability is, it's safe to bet 3. He said the only times where he would say 2 or something would be like if a surprise strike would win the game, if you would draw it. So like if you're 3 damage away and know you'll win with a surprise strike, you might just say 2 to be able to draw into it. But most of the time, especially in early mid game, if you don't know because you don't have R2 out, you can just say 3 and kind of safely be able to draw cards about 1/3 of the time. As far as the sideboard goes, a lot of this sideboard is specifically for Boba Yellow matchups. This Fell the Dragon right here off aspect on 6 is specifically for Fire Spray. The Grogus here are for Sabine and Boba, again matchups. He mentioned that it's kind of Grogu's ability is you can exhaust him to exhaust another unit. It can be space or ground. So what he was saying was happening this weekend when people were playing against him was if Grogu stays out, you can continuously just kind of tap their units, their biggest unit. He said he was taking sometimes like no damage basically from Sabine Green because they would leave this Grogu out. They wouldn't be hitting the Grogu, and then Grogu would just be tapping their unit. So they were not able to establish very much damage on the base. So the same deal with Boba. You can use him to tap a Boba leader. That way they don't get their on attack ability to ready their resources. I do think though maybe when people get a little bit more used to the deck, they'll start removing the Grogu, whether that's with surprise strikes or just straight attacking him as soon as they can. But at least right now Grogu is kind of like a surprise card to be able to tap down their units if they leave him out and don't get rid of him. The Mercenary Gunship is a 3/2 in space, turn 1 play. That is for the Palpatine green build, just because early space, it doesn't do very well against early space pressure. So you got like those A-wings in Sabine are how Sabine wins it. Sabine wins against Palp Green. So these mercenary gunships are another way to push damage that way. Worth noting, I mean, like overall in this deck too, which I haven't really said yet, is that you're kind of using cunning, you're using surprise strikes, you're just trying to push out like a whole bunch of damage. So if you got like a mercenary gunship out, you play your cunning, you can top their stuff down, hit them for 7, and if you do stuff like that, 1 or 2, I mean, the game just kind of swings against them at that point. The Syndicate Lackeys are also good into Sabine. The only card that I'm kind of not remembering exactly what it's for is this gunship, this 3/4 ambush gunship. I am thinking it's another Sabine card, just because you can ambush it into the A-wings or the red 3s and be able to keep your gunship around. Although it's like okay into 7th fleets in yellow Boba. But other than that, I guess I might go over my predictions pretty quick. I didn't specifically say at the end of my last video I did predictions for what I thought would be the top 8 for SCG Baltimore. I didn't specify whether this was for either of the 1Ks or the 2K event, so we'll just go with 2K. That's what I was meaning in the back of my mind. So my prediction was 3 yellow Bobas, 2 Sabine greens, 1 Kira green, and 1 Han green, with a maybe board of Boba blue, Vader green, or Palp green. One of any of those. So I got about half right, not counting my maybe picks. So I got the end results ended up being 1 Boba yellow, 3 Sabine greens, 1 Han blue, what that Han was from the new set. So young Han, this Han yellow kind of like rogue build that no one I don't think predicted would place, and then a Palpatine green. So I was right in the sense of the 1 Boba yellow, 2 Sabines was my prediction, but there were actually 3. I was right about the 1 Kira, but I was wrong in that there were no Han greens in the 2K, although the Han green did win the 1K. My maybe board of the 1 Palpatine green, which I wasn't counting in the 4 out of 8, did appear in the top 8. I think of all 3 events there was a Palp green in the top 8. Other than that, I will get right into the games here soon. We'll try this deck out. I know it has a lot of moving parts. It's kind of a toolbox deck. You've got a whole lot of decisions to be making all the time, whether you are using Han's ability to put stuff into play, and whether you're trying to, sometimes even turn 1, he mentioned, like you might try and pitch that resource to Bodhi them if you don't have another play, and you can use Bodhi to pull a ramp, especially against Palpatine green. So there's a lot of moving parts to this deck and a lot of really kind of specific lines of play that you would be playing against specific opponents. He played this deck hundreds of times in prep for this tournament. I have not played a whole lot of Han before on this channel. I don't think I've even streamed or posted any videos of Han at all. I'll do my best. I've been playing with it this morning, so we'll see what I can pull together in a few hours in the morning. But I'll do my best. Listening to his interview that he did with Rebel Resource really kind of gives you an insight into the deck and how it plays out. Overall, it's just trying to keep track of all of that in your mind as you're playing, which happens the more you get used to the deck. Like I said, I'll post his interviews, the deck list, all that kind of stuff in the video description so you can jump straight to that. Other than that, we'll get straight into the games here. Alright, we are going against Boba Yellow build here. I have pre-sideboarded in the Grogus to top down their units, as well as the Fel the Dragon. I slotted out the New Adventure, since that is main decked for Palp Green, so I traded those 2 for those 2. Here, I don't think we'll mulligan. We can turn 1, spark them. We really got a whole lot of delay in this hand. I'm really going to resource this Cunning, and we can like double spark plus like Grogu. But we're going first 2 though, which is a pretty big thing. I think we'll resource that surprise strike. We're gonna keep all of our stall here. We're gonna lead with spark, I think. Although we're not in green, so it's not like we have to hit whatever their thing is. I think maybe we'll actually lead with Grogu because that allows us to immediately claim, and then we can just exhaust whatever they play. And then we can spark after that. So they're going to claim right there. So they're not going to play anything at all, which is a little rough on them, especially if we keep this tech out. So we'll resource that Cloud Rider. They're going to play their Boba. I think immediately, I mean, like, we can either tech or we can spark. I think we're just going to spark them. Next turn, they can put that Boba's armor. Ian said one of the main ways he lost was Boba's armor play into fire spray play. So even then, like, these main deck discards are primarily for stuff like this Fett's armor, because we don't have another way to deal with Fett's armor, especially if he puts it on this unit. There's not a whole lot that we're going to be able to do. We could go up to 2 here if we want to discard something else. Like, we could try and discard Cunning, but we're basically discarding like a Waylay for the Cunning if we wanted to go with Spark. They did claim though, so I'm guessing they're going to try and tap us. But if they do that, we can honestly kind of like waylay their Boba Fett if they use Cunning on him. We'll resource C3PO, just trying to keep stuff on curve. But if they don't immediately attack with Boba, I mean, then we would tap with Grogu anyway. So I'm kind of expecting them to lead with Cunning so that they can exhaust or bounce Grogu and then buff Boba. That's what makes the most sense. Okay, so they'll do Relentless Pursuit for the capture. Makes sense too. Here, it's just whether we're waylaying or Spark of Rebellion. I really think Han comes out on 6, so he can come out next turn. We're just going to waylay that. It's going to keep them off, and also keeps our Grogu out for when they play Boba next turn. Their leader, if they deploy him, we can just tap with Grogu. So we could go up again. We've got this kind of, I'm really thinking I don't want them to have an armor or something on their Boba. So I'm going to, and maybe this is the wrong play, but I'm going to pitch this gunship to be able to spark them here. And then we'll see what else we can pull. No armor, so I don't have to worry about that, but I think we'll get rid of that Cunning. This Cunning would allow our Han to hit for 8, which is pretty good. We'll resource one of those techs. We'll destroy the C3PO. But again, here, because we did pitch that one last turn, it's just whether we'd have to do that again to get our Han out. So we'd have to get rid of our tech. Although tech himself like has smuggle, so I think what I'll do is I will resource the tech there, so we can get our Han out, and then we'll exhaust Grogu to exhaust Boba Fett, so they don't get their readied resources. Now we can play our Han, and then we can even, can we bounce? Yeah, we can bounce Toro and kill their Boba Fett. So we're going to return and buff, and we'll return the Toro Calican, buff Han Solo, and then we can attack with Han Solo, kill their Boba. So we're in a pretty good spot here, I think. Although we're drawing into like a lot of our bounds, we'd like to start hitting them. I guess what we can do is we can start, let's get rid of, what should we get rid of here? Maybe we don't need 2 Cloud Riders. Because if we play tech on 4, then we could play some, but then I don't know if we can play something else right away. Let's get rid of that other Cloud Rider. So you see these Lurking TIE Phantoms in these Boba decks now. It just means they can't be captured, damaged, or defeated, but they can be bounced with stuff like Cantina Bouncer. So Grogu is also nice into the Fire Spray because we can tap down the Fire Spray with him. So it's just whether we want to get out tech and then start using like cunning. I mean, like we can use cunning with tech next turn to start like bouncing and tapping down their ties, or we could just play the Cantina Bouncer. I think honestly I'm gonna get tech out. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, really nothing, because nothing in our deck like even costs one to be able to do that. Alright, so here's the DJ, and they're not going to be able to pull that out. Let's see what we would even play. Maybe this gunship can run into their phantoms, which is nice. Kira's nice sometimes, but maybe we'll get rid of Kira. I'm thinking, unless they play a fire spray, first thing we want to do is just bounce this TIE Phantom with cunning. We can also defeat their resources with DJ, but I don't know if that's really going to matter here. I think we'll do cunning, and we will return and then buff. So we'll bounce their other Phantom and we'll buff this tech, which will put 10 damage on their base this turn. So we'll attack the base. If we attack with Han, then, I mean, like, we can play this Cloud Rider, but I don't think we'll ready it. So we'll play it without an ambush ready. Waylay again is like fine into the fire spray at this point to just kind of keep it off, because we've still got 9 on board. It's just whether we want the Waylay or the Bouncer. Really at this point I'm kind of leaning toward the Waylay just because it's cheaper. Again, this gunship though is pretty nice into the Phantom. Maybe we'll get rid of that Surprise Strike. Although DJ does allow us to play like multiple stuff. We will lead with the Han into Toro Calican. Alright. They want to ambush there, which is like okay. It makes sense too, because it's going to leave a little less on our end for us to be able to do to them. They're just going to claim, which leaves 2, 4, so they have like 8 on board in the air. We're going to keep resourcing these DJs, I guess, because it's not worth it for us to just like straight play them. We can also cunning tap. So again, like this is the first day that I'm really kind of playing this deck. I don't know, is it right? I mean, like we maybe should have just claimed to be able to use cunning with tech to tap both of these Phantoms. Then maybe that would have been better. I'll have to go back and look, but in either case, I'm just going to cunning right away. And we'll bounce their other one and we'll buff our own Han. Because if we... He said 3 cunning GG. We'll GG him back. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think they just conceded there. I mean, you can kind of, see the power of the being able to just like resource all of those cards like pretty early and then just like pull them back out. We didn't really get the DJ tech thing off. Like I said, I'll look back over this, see if I'm sure, especially in hindsight, people coming back, watching the video will see maybe some smoother lines that I could have gone, but even in a kind of sloppy way, I think you can kind of see the power of the deck. We'll go into the second round here in a minute. Alright, we are going into match number 2 here against Patrick on the Leia Red. You don't see a whole lot of Leia anymore. Got those KTOD sleeves. Leia is just kind of super Sabine, trying to push out a whole lot of damage early on. So in that case, Maybe we want to keep like a C-3PO or R2 to be able to surprise strike into one of their things. So I don't think we'll mulligan here. We're probably going to resource this Kira, resource this Bouncer. Those are our high drops, and this allows us to lead with like I said, like C-3PO. We do have those 18 main deck 3-drop hits for C-3PO, so we're going to guess 3, which we got with Bodhi Rook, so we will draw Bodhi Rook. They've got Benthic 2 tubes we can claim here. Now we can immediately surprise strike 3PO into 2 tubes, or we can even Cloud Rider at this point. It's just whether the R2 3PO combo, I've never like actually done that. It just seems kind of cutesy. Maybe it's worth it to do. Maybe I'll be kicking myself that I didn't do it, but honestly I just kind of wanted to just like Cloud Rider into 2 tubes and keep their stuff off the board, to be honest. So that's what we're gonna do here. Keep that damage off of us. We can also like use Bodhi. Okay, so on the Echo base, let's see, we could put out a thing with Han, so we could like pitch our Cunning to surprise strike and kill that Echo base defender. We can alternatively lead next turn with a Cunning, bounce it, and then like make them like replay it. I don't know which is the better one. I honestly think I'm just going to claim here because it's not going to put us down on resources like tossing it would otherwise do. Sparks, I don't know like how, I mean we kind of would need these if they're on home 1 because we don't have another way to really get rid of it. So maybe I'll resource that surprise strike and we'll lead with, maybe we should just like either, it's like rather like bouncing and buffing, or and they're gonna have to like replay it and then we can just like kill it. I think maybe we'll just like return it and buff. So if they do want to replay it, we can just kill it. Which will just leave them with like no board. I think like leaving them with no board at this point is we got a Cloud Rider. Okay. We can get Han out this turn and they can get their Leia out. We can go up to 7 though, because of Han and then his attack, and I don't know if there's any way that they can like immediately just kill Han. They do have initiative. I guess they could, man, I don't know. I was trying to think of what, I mean they can have like open fire or something, but we'd still get our attack off. I'm not sure if they've got like one way to do it without like a rebel assault or something, so I'm going to, but we would have to like play out our resource. So maybe we'll play out that Bodhi. And that also leaves them like, are they going to attack with the Leia or not? I guess it makes it a little hard on us. Okay, because then we'll go up to 5. We can Cunning to tap her. But again, we could probably just deploy Han here. Because we don't want to leave Leia out with all of that stuff on here. We can run our Han into her and then play our own Han with that. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll hit there. And they're going to get a red 3. That's okay. We can Han and then ambush into the leader. So that does leave us with 6 on the base. But then we've got 10 on the ground compared to what they've got up there, and we also have Falcon, which we can like ambush into that A-wing. Plus we've got like we got both copies of the Falcon. We also probably want to like keep tech around. So really, I'm kind of, but maybe, I mean like we can ambush this from our resource row with smuggle for the same cost. So it doesn't matter a whole lot. They have initiative though, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. So here they've got a 3-5, so it may, I think it kind of matters to us to be able to ambush out this falcon, and then, oh, but we can't ambush it from the resource row, I guess. So that would be like a reason to keep it in the hand. I overlooked that part of it, I guess. Alright, so we'll attack them there. There's this one, attack them with Han. So there's more damage on our base than there really should have been. This DJ can delay a potential home 1 turn at the very least. We can also cunning, tap, and bounce. Like we would tap both of their wing leaders and bounce their A-wing. Okay, they'll do that. So I don't know how they got... Oh, because they're using Leia's ability to attack twice. I got it now. Okay, so what we'll do here is we will return and then buff. So let's bounce. Actually, let's do... I don't know, because if we bounce this, they're going to give 2 back to the wing leader. So maybe it's better to exhaust it. Instead of like letting them replay it. So we'll buff that and then exhaust those, which puts 14 on them there. They're gonna wrecker, which will kill our leader, but we can kill the wrecker straight away with Han Solo even if we didn't have the buff. Okay, so we'll play a falcon here, and then we're going to kill one of their wing leaders, which only leaves them 2. I think we will pay for it. Let's resource. A new adventure is good into the falcon because it can bounce it and it comes back readied. Maybe, oh, Kira, I don't know. It's pretty rough because we probably needed to like pull that U-wing, but they had the initiative, so I was trying to keep these around. We'll see if it works, or like what they hit with it. I'm not sure how many wing leaders. They've already got 1 wing leader, so they might hit another wing leader, try and buff this one. We have a recan, but it looks like that's all they got. Which is kind of less good for them. Okay, so now it is... We're going to put like 9 on their base. Or not. And then like make them discard. I think maybe we will put the 9 on the base. We'll try and out damage them here. Oh, Riken gave himself Sentinel. I didn't realize he could do that, I suppose. So I can now new adventure Han, I think. And then I should be able to attack him back into Riken, doing the damage first. That's weird. I was trying to bounce my own Han, but it's like making me do Riken. It's like broken. Strange. It's like... I don't know. That's like a weird interaction. I'm going to have to report that. Really, that new adventure, I'm just trying to bounce my Han to kill that Riken. If I spelled it right. Weird. Okay, like I should be able to like bounce my... It's really strange. Anyway, all, let's see what we want to do here. We could tech, and then that puts us at 5, and then we could try and spark. Do we have a spark? I guess we'd like try and DJ for. Let's use Han. Resource new adventure, and then we'll play tech, and then let's get out. Well, we could even get out this Cloud Rider kill that we can. We'll do it that way. It's like a roundabout way. Really would rather do that on the Han. Gonna need to keep these sparks. Yeah, it's kind of like messing with my play pattern here, having to like mess with all that stuff. Let's see, they have Cassian there, but that obviously means they don't have like a U-wing, because otherwise they would have played it. So let's get rid of that Cassian. So we can play pretty much anything from here. Let's do DJ, I guess. Or, I mean, like, we can even do, like, Bodhi. I don't know if we need to be, like, getting rid of their stuff. Weird. Is it, like, not letting me take control of the resource either? Is, like, this whole thing broken? Like, I should be able to just, like, randomly take one of theirs. It did. It took their U-wing. Okay, which I guess doesn't matter. So if we use Han's ability, we can like defeat their own thing. So I think that is what we'll do. We'll resource that spark. And then let's spark them ourselves. And, I don't know. We'll get rid of their last unit, I guess. And then we'll hit them with tech. And then with Han, we can just defeat their U-wing. Can we, like, play it, though, ourselves? I guess we could, like, at 9? With tech? We'll just destroy their resource, I guess. Okay. What do we have, though, here that we can play? Cloud Rider into that. Also like Bodhi. We got like a whole lot of options. I think let's lead with Cloud Rider. Kill that 2 tubes. We got that, which is fine. Let's attack their base. We should be able to maybe even almost kill them because we got 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, but I mean, like, we can also, like, Falcon, put them at, like, 1. It's just whether we're doing that or not. I guess, I want to get rid of that and then, like, bounce their tech just to keep all their stuff off the board. And we'll pay the 1 for the Falcon. Let's see, I guess we'll exhaust Ezra. And then we won't resource there, but I mean, I think they are out of it by now. They're attacking. They put the Darksaber on our Han just for laughs, so we'll attack them with that Han, and that will be game number 2. Alright, going into match number 3 here, again against a Boba Yellow deck by Uncouth, so we have pre-sided in some Grogus over Cloud Riders and 2 of the adventures for Fell the Dragon to answer Fire Spray. So here, we will not mulligan. We've got our turn 1 play with Grogu. We also have Spark, which is nice, but we'll resource 3PO. And I really think, I'm not sure that we're going to outrace, or that's really the goal here. So we'll resource the Surprise Strike so we can start with Grogu to delay them like as much as possible. while we can answer their stuff. They're going to claim first, which is interesting. Maybe they're just going to immediately try and waylay it, but if they can't stick damage on our base, I think they're going to be in a bit of a weird spot. We've got 2 Bodhis, some hand disruption there, plus the Kira, plus the Spark of Rebellion, so we've got a whole lot of things, plus the waylay. So we're going to resource one of those Bodhis. I think we're probably going to lead with it. To try and pull any of these things, really. We got the Cunning, we got the Boba's Armor. We really cannot answer Boba's Armor because we have like no other, besides like tapping, right? Which is why Grogu's in here, so. But they can also Cunning next turn. So I don't know if we can get like double discard on them. So let's see, and they're just going to try and hit us for 7. But I think this Boba's Armor is really more problematic for us long term, because we can also potentially tap down whatever they buff with Grogu, if that's how they want to play it. Like, unless they bounce Grogu back, they could bounce Grogu, buff that 7th fleet, but then we can also just like waylay it. We do have an answer for that, so that's kind of why we're not going along that line. To draw into attack, although we're not going to be able to like delay the Boba turn with DJ at all at this point. So let's see. They just attacked us first. So we're gonna spark them, and let's see what we can do here. For some of those extra sounds in here, my cat is trying to get on top of the mic or something. Let's see. I guess we'll get rid of one of those Cunnings. I guess we could have just played Kira and named Cunning. That might have been a little bit better. Let's see here. To 5. So next turn, Han and Boba. Maybe up to 3. We can waylay something. Looks like we could waylay the 7th fleet, but we'd have to pitch something to do that. There's a lot of trade-offs in this deck sometimes. Like, I don't know. So we can answer their Boba deploy with the Grogu. Is they going to spend all of that just to, like, new adventure? I mean, I guess we'll just claim. Alright. So we can double exhaust buff Bodhi, which I think is what we're going to do. We'll do buff and exhaust. So buff Bodhi and then get those. That way, I mean, like, even if they want to deploy Boba, they'll have to worry about that. And instead of passing, which we could also potentially end up doing, we can get Han or something. Look, they're gonna mock clunky. Pretty good there. Let me pause for a sec. Okay, so we're still on the same plan. Sorry about that brief pause. Like I said, that cat was like on the mic. Like, let's see. We'll play. Let's see here. At this point, maybe we want to keep the tech around. I mean, we can't play like either of those. Tech at least allows us like access to that. And we can get up to 3 with our, so right here we can exhaust their Boba. They'll have their smuggler, which is fine. We can play our Han. Let's see here though. I don't want to run it into the smuggler because that puts us at like a weird amount for damage. So we'll just attack the base here. That allows us to play our tech. And we've got a Cunning, which will help out too. So a nice top deck for us. Maybe we'll resource the Kira here. Let's destroy the R2 and the 3PO. They're gonna cunning, but we're gonna cunning. So it'll be like a duel of those. Although the cunnings, like I said, it doesn't make that much sense to me. I mean, like with a buff, I mean, they're just going to bounce and exhaust because if they don't do that, we're just going to use Grogu. Like if they try and buff Boba or something, we just exhaust it with Grogu unless they exhaust the Grogu. Okay, so that's what they're doing. I mean, and we can answer with like a similar thing here where, I mean, like let's see, we'll return and exhaust. It's just like which ones we're doing. If we return the 7th fleet, they can't replay it, right? So I think that's the go there because they're only on 2. So they'll claim there, and yeah, we have like nothing else we can particularly do there. We'll resource that other tech. So kind of neck and neck here with our dueling cunnings. I think we're on a bit of the back foot with these Grogus. They're kind of just a stopgap to try and like deal with those. Maybe what we do here is Kira. And they've got a fire spray, 7th fleet, and a lackeys. So the lackeys can just kill Kira when they come out, which is unfortunate for us. I guess though we will say fire spray. And then let's see here. We'll attack. We're just going to keep on the base. That way they'll have to ambush the lackeys into Kira. It's just whether we want to like get out tech. Is there really anything specific to be playing with tech? I guess we can ambush the Falcon, but that isn't so good into fire spray. We can waylay, like surprise strikes, I guess, to try and like finish off damage wise. So maybe like surprise strike on a Han. So maybe what we do here is we play tech to try and aim for that. And then we can get rid of it with that spark. Gunship is alright into that 7th fleet, but maybe we resource that bouncer. I think what we want to do here, though, is lead with Han. We don't like them being up on resources all the time with Boba Fett. It is just going to be rough for us to try and deal with that. So, we're going to lead with the surprise strike. And we're going to give Han the buff, and we'll kill Boba. And I'm expecting like an answer with the like smugglers, but we'll see. Right. Then we'll play Spark, and we'll pull... I think we're just going to pull the fire spray. What else can we do? We need something on 1. We hit up, fell the dragon. So if we go up to 8, we can fell the dragon a fire spray from there. They're just going to waylay tech, which is a little odd in my opinion. But maybe they just don't want us to keep playing stuff. So we're just going to play him again. I think we might just use Kira to kill that bouncer. At least that leaves some off of our base. And if they're going to keep putting pressure on our base, which I think they do, we're going to... Although they didn't, so interesting there. Okay. Man, like... Oh, it's like whether we're trying to keep Grogu around. Oh man, like on the off, like of a fire spray or something. Oh man, it is just pretty rough. Maybe not at this point, although we can always pull them out, I guess, if we have to, because of tech. Let's get rid of. What do we have multiples of? Do we have multiples of anything? This is a kind of rough choice too. I mean, like, because we can play Kira from our row. Maybe a surprise shot. I don't know if we're like pushing that much damage at this point. Let's see. We could exhaust them both and buff our tech. Maybe I'm just going to kill this smuggler. It's hard enough to get rid of all that stuff with shields on them. Because that also leaves us open to, if they play a fire spray, we can answer it with Fell the Dragon quickly. We don't really want them just like hitting us and not being able to like answer that. So they didn't, but we can Han into the lackeys, which keeps our Han around. Again, it puts them in a position of, if they are trying to I think they tried to smuggle this blaster out onto their defender, maybe, because for some reason the blaster ended up on our Han, which shouldn't really be a thing. But maybe they didn't know that the upgrade said non-vehicle or something. I'm not sure. Because they would have had to go into their resource route and smuggle it out, I think. Although I wasn't paying super close attention to the resources that they had, maybe not. Yeah, I think they're confused here. I might pause while I talk to them in chat so you don't have to listen to all that. Yeah, I tried to talk to them in chat about it. They just said and then disconnected. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there with Uncouth. What makes the most sense to me is that they tried to smuggle out this blaster. Looks like they came back though. I guess, there's like a whole lot of things in the chat. They reconnected. I wasn't expecting that. I was going to do a recap there. I don't know why it went I1. Okay, weird. There's just like a ton of stream there. I should have like paused it at that menu for some reason. I think they moved around the buttons, so from what used to be like main menu versus like close to like look at the match. I think they tried to smuggle out that blaster. I think there's plenty of back and forth that could have gone on there, but too bad on that. We'll go into game number 4 here in a second. Alright, into our 4th match today. It'll probably be our last match into another Boba list. So 3 out of 4 Bobas today. We're on an ECL list, against an ECL list, so we'll see how this goes here. We can turn 1 Spark. I think that's honestly a fine play. Ian talked about his favorite MTG play being turn 1 Thoughtseize, so we're going to go in with that ethos ourselves, even if that might not be necessarily my first thought. Bodhi is good to get like their resupplies if they're going to be trying to do that, but I don't know if we need like both, because it just depends. We're starting, so we can like potentially go again with Bodhi to discard a resupply, so I think we might just be discarding whatever they play. They can also waylay to put them off of that turn. So we got like a whole lot of disruption here. We'll see what they've got though. So they do have the fire spray. They're going to play Greedo turn 1. They'll play this super laser tech the next turn to ramp. And they've got their top end fire spray out. So it's just what we're trying to do here. I think really we want to interrupt their ramp package. So we're going to get rid of that super laser tech. They'll play their Greedo. And then we're going to claim immediately. And then it's just whether we're going with Bodhi or Ezra. I'm kind of still leaning toward Bodhi over Ezra, because they can still, if they run Greedo into Ezra, they can kill him. But same thing with Bodhi, like they just trade. And Bodhi is also worse on them if they're trying to like waylay us. So I think we'll lead here. We don't want to play a tech into this Greedo because we can't protect him currently. So we'll do Bodhi. They don't have any events, so they had to have resourced that timely intervention. They've got, or I guess it just says, it says I've got a spacer, a timely intervention, and a Fet's fire spray, but I should be able to discard this timely with Bodhi, because Bodhi lets you discard a non-unit card. I'll ask them though in chat, so I'll pause here a second. Alright, we are back. Apparently it was a bug. They are saying that they resourced it, but if you go back up here in the chat, you can see it says resolving play. It says they have a spacer, a timely, and a fire spray in hand. They are saying that that is not what their hand is, but then they kind of made some other weird comments, so I'm not sure, but theoretically, yeah, anyway. There's a bug either way. If it is in their hand and we couldn't discard it, that's a bug. If it is revealing their hand and saying it's there when it's not in their hand, that is also a bug. So I think first thing we'll do though is let's start. I mean, we can go up to 5. I don't know if we really need to. We're going to get rid of Greedo with that. And we can still ambush this gunship into the spacer, assuming they don't attack with us first. They may try and cunning it or something, but we don't really have anything. They passed, so we're gonna gunship right into that spacer. Choose them with no board at the moment. We can get Han out. They're gonna claim there. Let's see. Bouncer. Kind of want to keep unit Han around. We don't have our best ways to deal, like, we didn't, I mean, we already tried to pull the armor with Sparks. If they have an armor, we might be in a pretty bad spot. This turn, though, we need to keep this Fell the Dragon for Fire Spray. Maybe we'll resource this Bouncer, to be honest. Because we can go up to 6, which means we can tech plus Falcon. We're going to hit in the air in either case. I'm kind of expecting a Boba's armor. We didn't really draw into Greedos either, or not Greedos, but Grogu's to be able to hit with him. There's Zuckuss, so we'll keep hitting up there. Zuckuss is, I mean, might kind of affect our Han play a little bit, because we can, maybe we should have saved up. I mean, like, we can, because we could have, like, used Han's action to put, but then we had to, like, pitch our tech and stuff like that to go up to there. It's just like a pretty rough spot. If we play this, it's also just going to die into the Zuckuss. But we kind of need to go up to 7 at some point to like get the Han to ambush into the Zuckuss. But I guess we can do that next turn. So we'll pass. It's just whether if we do that, then we're still down to like 5. 4, 5, 6. So we really cannot pay for that Falcon if that's what we want to do here. The surprise strike can work in our favor with Han against their Boba, but at the same time, if they keep their Zuckuss open, it's going to be like a weird thing. Actually, well, we can pitch to that. So I'm going to ambush a 7th fleet into that, which is fine. Let's do, because then a Falcon can take care of it. We'll do play. And I think we're going to play, maybe Fell, because we can get it back out with tech. Although all this feels bad. Like, it feels like we need all of these cards to potentially deal with like what's going on here. I guess it makes it a little easier for us now that they've attacked with Zuckuss, but I think what we're going to do first though is still ambush the Han into the Zuckuss. Okay, so there's the Boba's armor. We're kind of expecting that. It's going to be rough on us to be able to deal with that. I mean, like, maybe we just need to get our Han out. And they can kill him, but that might be alright. We can surprise strike for 9, but we deal 7. So I think we're going to claim here. I think we should be able to surprise strike with... Let's get rid of this Grogu. Keep the Fel. This Han, surprise strike into this Boba should do it. Because even with the -2, we still got through. And he deals damage first, which keeps ours out. So at this point, we could fell the dragon if they do have a fire spray out. But we could also play our tech and try and set up for next turn. Maybe even potentially get a gunship back out. Maybe we'll pass here. If they want to claim, it's probably okay. I mean, I guess it might get us up to like 19. Okay, yeah, so there's the fire spray. Maybe we should have pitched earlier, though. It's just hard to know, like, what... Because we'll put that there. They'll attack us with the fire spray. We can kill it with Fel the Dragon. But then again, we're at like a lot. So we're going to have to do that. We still might lose this. Because of the 7th Fleet up there. I mean, we can like exhaust it. But we don't have like a good... We need like tech out to ambush out this gunship again. On 6, so we need to go up to like 9, which I think we can, but then we've got to like we have to keep destroying this stuff. So we'll be up to 5. So we can cunning buff Han to 10. And then tap their gunship up there. I think we need to do that. We'll have them. I don't know if we want to push the damage and put them up to 16. Maybe we do, and then we'll exhaust. I mean, we could have them discard at random. 2 might be alright. So they misplayed somehow. Maybe they played like the spacer first. Not really sure. We'll play our tech, and then we'll pass. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if they wanted to play that 4 LOM first or something, I don't know if that would have helped. I mean, we're going to keep both of these since we're at 8. I'll timely in a Boba. We'll use tech. No, we'll use... I'm trying to use his ability to place. I keep like doing that. And then we'll hit that 7th Fleet. I keep like clicking on tech when I'm like trying to do his thing. Yeah, we can't really get anything out. We'll do Grogu there. Alright, we'll claim. So we still got 7. We can ambush out that Falcon. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So maybe we bouncer. Resource the bouncer so that we can play both of these things. I think we'll start with the Falcon into there. So if they want to try and like buff it, I mean, I guess they could liberate it. If they have a cunning, they could win here because they could tap our gunship and buff their spacer up to... Actually, no, because that would only be up to like 6. So what we'll do here is we're going to start attacking the base. We got Zuckuss, but I think actually if we have like 5, let's see here. If they claim though, they'll immediately win with Zuckuss because they'll be able to immediately do the 6 to our board. So like we have to claim here. And then immediately tap it with Grogu. Or if we get a Cunning, do we have a Cunning in here? No. I think we'll like bounce it with a Cantina Bouncer, I guess. Or Fell the Dragon on it. I don't know if they just refused the ambush, which makes sense. Okay, so we drew into what should work. We got 10, so we can't play all, but we don't really need to. We've got tech out. What we can do here is bounce and exhaust. We really just need to take care of that Zuckuss because let's see, exhaust and return. So the unit to return will be the Cloud Rider, and then we're going to exhaust the Zuckuss, exhaust the Spacer. So now I think they're kind of out of it because we still have 8, 9, 10, we got 10 on board, which is over 4 over their health. Unless they have like a fire spray. And with the fire spray, that would kill us, I think, because we could get rid of it, but it's not enough actions, because we could go up to Fell enough to be able to play Fell the Dragon, but we'll GG them there. Yeah, they're really looking for that fire spray. One of them we already got rid of, but without that fire spray would have done it. These matches end up being like pretty close. They come down into like these really kind of minutia, these really kind of tiny decisions layered up over the course of the game. This deck has a ton of moving parts throughout the deck, and being able to know like what you need to even like keep, because like tech turns your resource row into your hand basically, but +2, right? So like knowing when to keep what, right? Like, do you defeat the R2? Sometimes it's even worth it to like play these small units to maintain some board presence, to put pressure on with Cunning. Sometimes it's right, like, do you keep an Ezra? Ezra can synergize pretty well with the C-3PO. Do you play him out? And and DJ, right? I mean, I think sometimes you see people run the tech into the DJ, but it's too late, right? It's like knowing when. So you have to kind of tailor every single thing to different leaders and really kind of specific scenarios. I really like this deck. It's fun to play. It's kind of like a brain teaser, like a puzzle, trying to keep everything together, know how to line all of your plays up right, when to pull what, when to resource what, when to play things out. I think it's really important. I don't know if I'll play this deck. I really kind of prefer Kira Green and even like control builds. And this kind of plays that way with all of the main deck discards. So I like that aspect of it. But some parts of it are not quite so much my playstyle personally, but I do think it's important to know like new meta decks. I think a lot of people will be playing this. It was a rogue deck going into Baltimore, but it won 2 of the events there, the 2K, one of the 1Ks. So I think a lot of people will be up on this deck, playing this deck, and it's important to know like the ins and outs of it, what it can do, what it can pull out, what you need to do, what you need to answer. And part of that is playing the deck yourself, right? So I would encourage you to the link is in the description. Go play this deck, copy, paste it in there, play the deck yourself a little bit. Go listen to the interview with Ian Klein before you do that, so you get some ins and outs, or even like the quick walkthrough at the front of my video. I just kind of condensed what he talked about over an hour into about 10 minutes. So the gist of it is in there, that kind of a thing, just so you can play it yourself. But I think that'll be it for today. Enough games for today. I did play a little bit on here before I streamed, just so I'd have some idea of like what I was doing. But that'll be it for now. I'll come later in the week with another deck tech video, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. If you made it this far, you're a champ. Thank you for watching. If you noticed any misplays, especially with this deck, please tell me. Please leave a comment. I do not take it as an offense or anything like that. Especially this deck with all of these moving parts, so many things going on all at once. It's kind of hard to get your lines all completely straight up. I know I probably like misplayed some lines, or could have done it in a smoother way in some of these matches. changes. So if you saw a line that would have made more sense, especially with resources, because I'm not used to clicking over on my resource row, like online, like I look through it more in person, I think, than I do online. So like there were maybe things over here that I was resourcing that I should have been playing instead of like just focusing on what was in my hand or things like that. So like I said, if you notice anything like that, please let me know. It really does help me improve. I don't get offended by that kind of a thing at all. It just helps me get better at the game, and that's kind of what all of these streams, all of these episodes are about, is me practicing, getting better at the game and learning. So if you made it this far, like I said, thank you so much. If you want to see more, like the video, I've got this playlist with a bunch of gameplay videos. I'll keep up with competitive lists as they're posted, as well as some of my own lists, which you can find in the playlist, which should pop up on screen over here or over there somewhere. So thank you. Goodbye.